Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of Grant Source Live. Today we have an exciting guest. We have Arron Gonzales from One Donation. But before we get to Arron, I have to give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. First, Zula Nyala Resorts. If you have ever aspired to go down to South Africa, they have one of the greatest resorts, and they have a special offer for our community. Just go to the app and go under travel and ventures. And for a company that I used to work for and near and dear to my heart, Paychecks, if you're looking for payroll for your nonprofit or small business, they can help you get set up, and they're offering our community 1 month of free payroll every time you sign up. So, without further ado, Mr. Gonzales, how you doing, man?
I'm blessed, man. I cannot complain. I am in a wonderful place right now. As you can see behind me, I am a United States veteran. I was in the Air Force, so I'm at the one of the vet facilities in Texas today, looking at how we can interact with them and maybe pick up some volunteer work to help out some of our vets. So I'm excited today. So
first and foremost, before we move on, thank you for your service.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about you, where you started, and I know you're in the Air Force, but how did you get involved with One Donation?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a funny story. I'll give you the short version of it because I know we don't have a lot of time. But I was basically at a men's support group. It wasn't really a Bible study, but it was a bunch of Christian men all getting together, and I overheard the founder talking about this wonderful way to give. And then I have friends that have nonprofits, and I talked to him about it. And then I ended up selling him something because I have another company that I sell, and I seen that they can utilize it. So he said, you know what, you're passionate about selling, you know your stuff. We need a salesperson. Could you help us? And One Donation, he told me the story. So I helped develop their sales process and sales part of One Donation. So that's how we met, is at a men's meeting, and I just overheard it, and I kind of invited myself in the conversation.
Phenomenal. And I know One Donation is making a huge impact. So give us the Cliff Notes version of that story that he told you that you got so passionate about.
Sure. Well, it gives the nonprofits the another ability to take in money. Because as nonprofits, we all know they're always looking to raise money. They need money in order for them to do what they're doing. As a nonprofit, they're helping our communities. They're helping our country. They're helping the people in our communities. So I saw it as a way to help more nonprofits because they do it at a 50-cent fee versus all the others' fees. So it's just another way to help a nonprofit to keep functioning. And that's what got my attention.
So if I understand this correctly, and when we were in Palo Alto at Startup Grind, basically, One Donation helps everybody get payroll deductions, donations for their organizations. People are familiar with United Way is a common one, but your organization can actually be on that payroll sheet for basically any company, correct?
Correct. We have it's called an open platform, which means the employee is empowered to give who they want to give with. We don't say, no, you can only give to this one or that one. All registered nonprofits, and if you're a nonprofit and you want to utilize our platform, it's free to utilize our platform. And we will help you set it up so you're exactly right. That company, that corporate sponsor, can now set it up on their payroll platform where that employee can give every payday. So it's a reoccurring donation. Employee feels good about it because they're helping the community. The company feels good about it because they're helping the community. And the nonprofit is the biggest winner because they get the funding that they need.
Phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And I know every nonprofit, every organization is looking for other ways that they can enhance their fundraising. So that's incredible. And we appreciate you being on the show. Tell us about the impact that has created all across the country.
The thing that we're finding as we did our discovery and we interviewed and asked both companies and nonprofits, and then we talked to the private sector, to individuals, how can this be effective? How can this impact what you do? And in corporate America, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to try to figure out how to be tapped into the community. How can we be socially responsible? I'm talking last year, they spent over $400 million just figuring that out. Wow. Not doing it, and that's $400 million they could have gave, in my opinion, right? So we help them to give them another way that they can do it electronically. We can remove all the hassle and passel. It helps them with all their statistics, all their numbers, which then in corporate America, those numbers are very important to their investors. The investors want to see that they're giving, that they're participating, and they want to see the stats. So we help there. On the nonprofit world, we help them because it's another way that they can receive money that's instantaneous, and it's in the control of the giver. So it works very well. And then me, the giver, it helps me because I can see where my money's going. I know it's only a 50-cent fee. I don't have to be worried about, are they having big parties with my money, or is it my money actually going to that nonprofit or what? So it's a win-win-win all the way around.
Absolutely. Now, so tell the other side of it is you help people get involved. You just talked about you're at the VA right now, rounding up some volunteers. Help us understand a little bit more about that.
Well, what we're finding too is that companies not only want to give money, they want to give resources.
Yep.
So they want to be able to set it up to where their employee can go help, like here, and serve lunch to the vets. Nice. But then the employee wants to get some kind of credit for it, right? And the company wants to be able to track that as well, to put it in their numbers with their engagement and their corporate social responsibility. So we're looking at how can they use our platform to track that activity as well. Not just the money that's coming out of their paycheck, but when they want to give 8 hours to a soup kitchen or to a homeless shelter or to whatever nonprofit, a food bank, that information is tracked as well, and it can be helpful for everybody.
Excellent. And I know we have a picture coming out. Let's show some of these volunteers that have been showcased by One Donation. Look at that. Got the blue T-shirts and everything. I believe that's the front page of your guys' website. So you guys have been able to really help organizations with their social empowerment. It helps their impact because it shows that they're socially responsible, and you help that nonprofit organization really increase their fundraising. So what you guys are doing is incredible. And we appreciate the opportunity to be able to work together and showcase this. How did you get, and I know we asked you, I met you in California at a conference. What drew you to the GrantSource platform?
Well, what drew us there was, one, the technology, right? The technology. We're always looking and wanting to expand, right? There's a ton of young, bright minds that are coming out of college that are looking for an opportunity. Our goal is to expand so we can hire more programmers, right? And that is a great place to find them in a startup grind type atmosphere. And also the natural networking that happens with like-minded individuals. There's so many different opportunities from these startup grinds, from these tech companies that are doing really good in our communities, which makes us a better world. So if I can associate and communicate with them and share what our vision is, they can share what their vision is. There's always a way to network together to help each other. We're dealing with social responsibilities ourselves, and it's always good to share that information. So that's kind of why we were there, is to get some exposure and also to get investors, because there's a bunch of investors there looking to invest in new and bright minds too.
Yep. And so we were there. We were able to link up. We are going to partner with One Donation and help the fundraising efforts of nonprofits, not only in the U.S., but all around the world. So we appreciate you being on the show. Now, let me ask you, how can our community, and we'll do our part to make sure your name gets out there, how can our community help you?
Well, doing stuff like this, just educating. All it is an education, because you hit it on the head when we started this interview, that most people know United Way because they've been the only thing that's out there. Mm-hmm. And so it's easy to go after the only thing that's out there. So what we're trying to do is educate folks that there's other way that you can give. Now the online community is growing by the hundreds of millions of dollars that are being given. I think this year we did it was reached over $400 billion were given online.
Wow.
And that's a lot of giving. And that's the world. That's the world. That's not just here in the US, but that's in the world. So what we're trying to do is just tap into that, educate people that there's other ways to give, because we don't want to, in one donation, it's not about us making money. That's why it's only 50 cents a transaction. A lot of these other things, it's percentage on the front end, it's something on the back end, there's setup fees. So what we can do is, what you guys can do to help us and we can do to help you and help the community, is just to educate that there's other things out there and be willing to listen to what's out there.
Excellent. Well, we're coming up on time. I want to thank all of our audience for tuning in. I want to thank our sponsors, Zula, Nyala. I want to thank Paychecks. Thank Arron González from One Donation. You can find him in our app. Just search the community offers section and go to One Donation, and you will see a special offer that they have directly for our community. That is our time. I'm the founder and executive director at Grant Source. And remember, it's not about the money. It's all about the impact. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm done, guys.